is up, my friend? I am Mikey Henninger from Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. Last Saturday, I posted on LinkedIn asking people to ask me anything at all that they want to know about, whether it was fantasy football or beer or buffalo wings or the meaning of life. And let me tell you, you guys came at me with some great questions, some really interesting questions at times. And what you're about to see is my reaction and my response to several of those questions. If you're new to following me on LinkedIn, I usually post about fantasy football, but occasionally I post about dad life, my entrepreneurial journey, positivity, mindset, living the life that you want to live. And if any of that is up your alley, please remember to click that follow button and turn on notifications. I usually post every day around 8:30 in the morning. And by the way, if you're trying to dominate your fantasy football leagues in 2024, right now I have a promo code EARLYBIRDFEB24. That'll get you 13% off your 2024 subscription to Basement Brewed Fantasy Football. But you got to hurry because it's only good for the first 10 people who use it. Enjoy the video.
Paul Conley wants to know, if you are the Pro Bowl starter, if you're a quarterback who's the Pro Bowl starter, are you a good quarterback? No, not necessarily. Zach Emmel wants to know, why did the Seahawks throw from the 2-yard line instead of handing it to Marshawn Lynch? Honestly, just because we overthink things sometimes. Dave Lemkel wants to know, is Hurts' regression due to bad offensive coordination, or was one good year a fluke? Please calm down a nervous Eagles fan and City, please. So the answer is in the question here. The answer, I believe, is regression. I've come to learn in this fantasy football space that a lot of times there's a misunderstanding or a misconception of what the word regression means. A lot of people take that to mean like decline or decrease, or like they're getting worse. And that could be the case, but the definition of regression means you're taking an outside instance and bringing it closer to the norm. So if you look at Jalen Hurts' 2022 campaign, which was elite when he was the runner-up for MVP, losing to Patrick Mahomes, he accounted for over 5,000 scrimmage yards, 43 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. From a fantasy standpoint, he averaged 25.4 fantasy points per game. It was an elite all-time kind of season, and it would be completely unrealistic for anybody, Eagles fans or otherwise, to expect Jalen Hurts to be able to replicate that type of season every single year. In 2023, he took that step back, but he still had a terrific season. From a fantasy standpoint, he still averaged over 21 fantasy points per game. So yes, it was a step back, but more likely it was likely to be more like regression closer to the norm, where Jalen Hurts is likely to average that 21, 22, 23 fantasy points per game over his career, as opposed to those occasional seasons where he puts up 25, 26 fantasy points per game. So if you're an Eagles fan, hang in there. You still have yourself an elite quarterback. Not good, not great, elite. Stay the course. Jason Molnar wants to know, why are men with beards more handsome than men without beards? And the simple answer here is science.
Science.
It's science. It's factually true, and there's no reason to think any more about it. It's just science and factually true that men with beards just happen to be more handsome, more attractive than men without beards. It's just how it is. Paul Conley wants to know, who would you have as your all-time Packers quarterback? And I think right now it's got to be Bart Starr. I mean, Brett Favre was very entertaining. Aaron Rodgers put up the numbers, but quite frankly, they gave us 30 years of exciting football with 2 Super Bowls. Bart Starr won football games, he won championships, he won trophies. And you know what? I mean, from what we saw from Jordan Love in 2023, it's entirely possible that he's in that conversation at the end of his career. But as of right now, it's Bart Starr, even though he doesn't have the same shine as Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers did. Jordan Poggle wants to know, who is your favorite health and fitness coach and why? Guys, if you don't follow Jordan Poggle, please change that for yourself right now. The guy changed my life. In some ways, he saved my life. Last year, I had a little bit of a scare from my doctor that said, hey, you're 34 years old. Your blood pressure and your cholesterol should not look the way that it does. And I worked with Jordan, and he helped me lower my cholesterol, lower my blood pressure, I accidentally lost 11 pounds, even though weight loss was never part of the goal. It was just a nice side effect from all the work that I was doing. And the best part about working with Jordan is that it's not like he implemented these gigantic, sweeping, like life-changing changes. It was all like small tweaks to hundreds of daily decisions that I was making every single day that it was almost not even noticeable during the day, yet made a huge difference over the course of time. So even if you're not focusing on fitness or there's not something from a health standpoint that you're trying to accomplish, Jordan is one of the best humans on the planet that I know of. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't follow him or if you're not connected with him. Change that. Rank your top 5 wing flavors. It goes buffalo wings and then everything else down here. I'm a buffalo wing guy through and through, buffalo wings till the day I die. If we go to a restaurant and they have buffalo, I'm trying it 10 times out of 10 because I need to know how they stack up to everywhere else in Milwaukee. If I have to name other ones, I do usually like some sort of like sweet and spicy barbecue sauce. I like a spicy garlic, a garlic parmesan, and I usually like a sweet Thai chili. Candidly, I really like the Asian Zing from Buffalo Wild Wings, of all places. But again, it's buffalo wings, Gap, everything else after that. David Cotty wants to know, who would you want to play you in a movie? And without a doubt, the answer is Mr. Justin Timberlake. For 2 reasons. Number 1, I don't think there's anything in the world that guy can't do. He can sing, he can dance, he can act, he's funny. Number 2, my ego is still happy to report that back in the day, back when I used to work at Chili's, I used to hear quite frequently that I looked like Justin Timberlake. Now, not so much anymore, since I've gained a little bit of a dad bod. He gets more attractive as I get a little bit older. Don't know how that works. But I used to get that about once a week, way back when I bartended at Chili's. So Justin Timberlake is the answer there. David Cotty wants to know, what is your biggest regret in life? And it has always been the fact that I did not play any sports in high school. I was always scared of whether or not I would be good enough, and then if I wasn't good enough, I was scared that the other kids would make fun of me. And nowadays, as a 35-year-old man, I really hate that 16-year-old Mikey was so scared of such things, because if there's one thing I could change and do all over again, that would be it. I think there's life experiences that I may have missed out on, and I also think I would have had a very good chance of not having so much student loan debt had I played high school sports. Jordan Poggle wants to know, what is your favorite non-traditional fantasy football league to play in? Several years back, I played in a March Madness style fantasy football leagues where there were 64 teams. There were 4 different conferences, let's call them, 4 conferences of 16 teams that each had their own draft. The first 10 weeks of the season were basically a total points contest. Whoever had the most points was the number 1 seed, second most points was the number 2 seed, least amount of points was the 16 seed, and after week 10, that would all get placed into a 64-team March Madness style tournament where the 1 seed played the 16, 2 played 15, and it's single elimination from there. And I actually won that league one year, turning $25 into $1,000, and it was a ton of fun figuring out the strategy and figuring out the best way to not only build a team that's going to score a lot of points in the first 10 weeks, but also how to build a team that isn't going to fall apart come tournament time, like the Dallas Cowboys. Tanner Dawson wants to know, how do you balance everything? Here's the truth. I don't balance everything. I would say my biggest weakness and biggest thing I need to work on as an entrepreneur and a family man and everything else that goes on in my life is balancing everything. I'm pretty terrible as it pertains to time management. I can't tell you how many times, especially since I started my own business, that I would get to the end of a day and lay down in bed and think about, man, I accomplished so much today, and then come to realize I couldn't even name the things that I accomplished because a lot of times I spent time on activity that really didn't move the needle. So right now, a big focus for me is knowing the 1, 2, or 3 things that I'm trying to accomplish in the next year or 6 months, and then asking myself point blank, is this activity moving the needle towards those 1, 2, or 3 goals or 3 things that I'm trying to accomplish? Christy Smigelski wants to know, what's your favorite beer? Right now, my favorite beer is a beer called Cream City Bricks by Enlightened Brewery. It's a cream ale. The bad news is it is not available outside of Wisconsin, but if you're in Milwaukee and you have not tried it yet, it is currently my favorite beer, and it has been for a good 9 to 12 months or so. Derek Devereaux wants to know, how many digits of pi can you remember without looking it up? Really hoping my math teacher wife does not hear this, but I know it starts with 3 point, and then I don't know what it is after that. I want to say 3.6, maybe 3.9. That's all I got.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and please keep it coming. If you guys have any other questions or there's anything at all that you want to know about, please keep the questions coming. I promise you I'm an open book. I promised when I started this business that I would build with transparency and just let you in on basically everything that's going on, good, bad, and ugly. And again, assuming you like winning and assuming you want to dominate your fantasy football leagues in 2024, maybe you want to cash in on FanDuel or DraftKings or NFL prop bets, go to basementbrewedff.com and click any of my subscription plans and enter Early Bird Feb 24 as a promo code. You're going to get 13% off your 2024 subscription. But again, you got to do it quickly because that promo code is only good for the first 10 people who use it. And hopefully there's plenty of you watching this. But again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the fantasy football field.